Lions-Ravens this week. Ravens starting to settle in, D-Mac, about that field goal favorite. It's one of those things where you look at it, Montgomery probably going to be out for a minute or two. It's one of those spots, D-Mac. It's a tough spot. You're right in front of the bye week as well. Again, for the Lions, it's a tough spot, D-Mac.
You know what? We haven't really gone into any of these games not being in a spot where you're of concern. Going back to the Atlanta game, we were concerned about their running attack and what we're going to do. Right now, I'm not so much concerned about our rushing game. It's the number one, and whether it's the elephant in the room or not, is can we contain Lamar Jackson, especially scrambling? Because that's the one thing that we haven't been really proven, right? Having that quarterback try to run on us like they did last year, like Justin Fields had done last year, and different things like that. So you got to think with Lamar Jackson, that's part of Baltimore's game plan. I think it's just by committee. What have we seen? What do we know about this Lions team? Next man up mentality, right? I go back to it. Well, Dan Campbell, when he said that in 2021, they had to figure that with injuries that they would lose every starter. That's just the mentality. So how are they going to prepare for that? Well, you know what? He's not just talking it. He's walking it, because they are losing guys, and they're losing big guys. And do you expect Gibbs to be back this week? I don't. You don't know about Branch. You don't know about these guys. Guys are knocked up. This is the NFL, so they're going to be ready to play. And is this another game that we're going to have to see Jared Goff be the leader of these men and just, play this game's going to play out more like, I believe, the Tampa Bay game, being more of a, 20-6 game, a 20-10 game. Jack Fox is going to be a weapon, and field position is going to be a weapon of this game. So, number one concern for me isn't anything that we do. I think we'll sort of figure it out offensively. It's stopping Lamar, and mostly Lamar scrambling.
Yeah, and Lamar's on his way, 330 yards rushing, 4 rushing touchdowns. He's putting up those running back numbers. We've been talking about David Montgomery. He's got 5 touchdowns. Mm-hmm. Lamar's got 4.
Yeah.
When
they get in the red zone, man, that's the biggest threat.
He's a beast.
Yeah.
He's an absolute beast. And look, a whole lot of people, when we went through this, because again, I like to revisit this. When last we all talked Lamar Jackson here, it was the contract issue. It was the Lamar said, I'll sit out. I want my money. And a lot of people were saying, you can't give Lamar that kind of money. And yes, you can, because what's the alternative? And Lamar won. And I knew Lamar would win.
You said you when we were talking about this, and I asked you the question, does Lamar, who has the leverage here? And you said Lamar Jackson has all the leverage here.
Yes.
The longer this goes, what choice does Baltimore have?
None.
Right?
None, because you're in this window right now, and it was their only play. Because if you lost Lamar Jackson, and you can say what you want about him, you can buy into him, you cannot buy into him, you can say he can't throw the ball, because that's everyone's default to say that he can't pass the ball. He's a dynamic player in the NFL. He's a former MVP. He's a problem. He's an issue. He's a great athlete. You can say what you want about him, but he is a dynamic player. And just as I look across the Ravens and what they're doing right now, and look, I know a lot of people are talking about where, some of the wins they have and how they were kind of slogfest and things like that. That's the Ravens, D-Mac.
Yeah.
Not everybody is the Dolphins or the Chiefs 2 years ago. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't look pretty all the time.
But doesn't it give you confidence, because don't you feel that your team, the Lions team, can play in many different ways? Right? That's the big thing that I take away from the game against Tampa, is controlling the clock and making it, even losing, your number one running back and stuff like that. You controlled the clock, and time of possession was ridiculous. So you going into that mentally knowing that it's going to be one of those games, okay, cool. We can play it that way.
Right. And we got to remember, too, because everyone is always default to say the Ravens, WoodwardSports.com chat thread, by the way. Where was it? Oh, yeah, Real Cream of Wheat. Neil's hat has a Wizards logo on it. WTF. Guys, let them know in the chat. Come on.
White caps, baby.
Yeah. Come on. You got to be better than that, Real
Western
Cream
Michigan,
of Wheat.
exactly.
Yeah. You got to be better than that. You got to be better than that.
A-ball.
Yeah. Great Lakes. You know what I'm saying? Come on,
I'll
bro.
never support the Wizards after they changed from the Bullets. Free Gilbert.
It was a sad day.
Yeah.
It was absolutely a sad day. But again, just you look at defensive rankings, and we've been programmed right as of late since they've had Lamar Jackson to say, well, this isn't the Ravens' defense of old. By the numbers, it is.
Yeah,
D-Mac.
they're pretty damn good.
They're the second best defense in the NFL by the numbers, and if you don't have a multifaceted attack, with all due respect to Craig Reynolds and Zigbo, and with all due respect to everybody involved, this Ravens defense is elite, and they have an elite athlete at quarterback. It's tough, man. This is a tough matchup.
As it should be on the road. Yeah, we know that it is, but again, if things are different, that's why I said, who do you look to be like? If Montgomery was healthy, right, we'd be sitting, okay, David, you need 20-some carries, and we'll get you that 100 yards, but it's going to be tough going all game. Now, who do you focus on? Right? This is a Jared Goff game. This is a game that you have to go in there and your quarterback has to win. Whether it's, you need guys stepping up, right? More imperative, as we say every week, the Amon-Ra St. Brown and Laporta connection. Josh Reynolds on third down. Listen, if Jared Goff continues his efficiency like he did last game, and we agreed before going in, Tampa wasn't a pushover either. Right? So what we're saying going into this week is a little bit tougher than it was last week against a little bit tougher defense, right? Would you say the environment is tougher in Baltimore?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Than in Tampa Bay?
Absolutely.
Right? We'll see how obviously the fans travel, which has been something that, we should talk about down the road as a side, just about how well this fan base is traveling. But no, I mean, this is... for lack of a better term, this is a playoff game, at the end of October, right? It's going to be an NFL, should be a smash mouth.
Well, you're going to get a taste, right? And we haven't had a taste in a long time of this, and it's been fun. Absolutely, it's been fun. But this is about to get real around here this week. This is your first taste, everybody. Now, because of the nature of your start and what you've done, I don't want to call it a free roll, because that's something like losing. A losing team would say something like a free roll. But you lose this game, not a ton changes, right? You're not going 16-1.
Well, here's the whole thing. This is why you've built that depth in your division for games like this, when you're not 100%, when you have to go in. There are tough games on the schedule. You already said, from what I'm hearing from you, is you're flip-flopping what you thought the Chargers game would be
to the Ravens game.
To the Ravens game, which you were going to give one of them.
Yes.
It's just the way the schedule is. So what I'm saying is that Neil had said before that guys don't remember going out to San Diego, that Charger game. Yeah. It's a schedule woes. It's that game that every team plays. Well, it might be this week.
And
you know what? As long as it's just one of them, because what do we say? Every team has one or two of them this year. So, but then again, maybe it's not.
And if I got offered,
maybe it's not.
And I got to be consistent, too. I said, hey, before the Tampa game, I said, if you offer me 1-1 in these two games, I'll take it right now.
Yeah.
I'll sign that contract right now.
You have to be. Then you're 6-2.
Right.
It gets you to where you want to be, where you need to be, keeps you on pace to win this division and arguably host a playoff game. Now, if we're getting into the conversation we did yesterday, the fact that Philly lost, the fact that San Fran lost, if you are legitimately thinking about having a number 1 or number 2 seed, then you got to go out and win this game.
Right.
This sets you again. You go out and win this game, Neil, a lot of those last heads are going to turn to be like, wait, this is legit going on there.
And yes, and that is something that we'll get into a little bit later on in the week. Like, if they do. I'm just saying, if they do.
Because you've opened up new doors. All the doors that you've set yourself up for, but now you're going to reach another one, right, that you haven't been around ever.
Right. And that's something where if they do, it'll be incredible.